it's Miss B. So let me address a couple things before we get started. So one, um, I miss you guys so much, and I never imagined my first year teaching would be like this. But I'm making the best with what we have, and I'm glad that we have the technology to do this because about 5 years ago I graduated high school, and never in a million years would we be able to do this. We didn't have Chromebooks. A lot of us didn't have that technology, and that was just 5 years ago. So I'm glad we're able to do this. Um, if I don't know when we're going to go back to school. I really don't. So I need you guys to stay updated through our Gilbert Public Schools website, the local news, and also our Highland Junior website. You'll also be getting emails, and your parents will be getting emails as well. So there should be no confusion as to when we're going back to school. Second thing, obviously I've been practicing that self-quarantining, self-isolation thing, social distancing, whatever. I feel like I've thought every single thought in my head that there is to think, and I feel like I've watched the entirety of Netflix. Okay, I've read like 8 books. I'm very, very bored inside, but I'm also doing my part by staying inside, washing my hands, not touching my face, which I didn't realize how much I touched my face until I really wasn't supposed to, and also only going out for essentials, which also made me think, what is an essential? Okay. So I've learned a lot through this process and have had a lot of time to self-reflect and things like that. But I'm bored inside, just lounging in my PJs all day. So I thought, okay, each week there'll be a theme. And this week's theme is 80s, which is like my favorite decade. So here we are. And it gives me something to do and look forward to. So who knows what next week will be, but I think it's fun. So that's all that matters. Just kidding. I'm trying to make the best of a not so great situation. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started in what we're doing. So starting today, which is Monday, I'm going to be giving you those assignments, and you'll have the entire week to work on them, okay? And you're probably thinking, what are we doing? Well, we're actually going to be starting to read this book called Out of the Dust by Karen Hesse. This book was published in 1997, the year I was born, which is pretty cool. But it's basically about this girl during the Dust Bowl. And our job this week is kind of to do some research behind the book. And you're probably like, wow, another novel study. Kinda. This looks huge, right? You're like, what are we supposed to do? It's actually written in verse. So it's kind of like a poem. So all the pages are basically like a poem. So it looks really like, how many pages is it? It is 227 pages, but if you think about it, it's just like a super long poem, okay? I'm going to be reading the sections, and I'll be posting a link with that as well if you want to follow along and read it. And you're probably like, Miss B, we don't have the book. Correct. So we were actually going to do this when we came back from spring break anyway, and there wasn't enough books for us, unfortunately, but they have it online. So we will be reading this online, and there's activities, like I said, and worksheets that go along with it. Now, they're really not strenuous. They're really not high stakes, because I understand during this time it's really, really difficult for you guys. I know my anxiety is through the roof because it's kind of a day-by-day thing, which is okay. So I can't imagine you guys right now because your entire world got flipped upside down, just like mine did. So I had to keep that in mind, that you guys are actually people too, and you're not going to just sit down and be like, yes, right now I'm going to work all day. It's hard. It's really hard, especially when you're at home, okay? There's a lot of distractions. So, but our job this week, like I said, is to research. Now, I'm going to attempt to tell you guys a little bit about this book. It is older, like I said, it's about 22, 23 years old. So, like I said, a little bit older, but Karen Hesse writes a lot of her stuff through historical fiction. Now, she's a children's literature author as well as a young adult literature author. So that's us, right? We're not children's lit, but we are young adult. So she wrote this, and she, like I said, writes a lot of historical fiction. So she takes events in history and writes about them. So in the perspective of either a character or somebody else, like an outside perspective. So it gives us a lot of insight, and she does a lot of research on her books. The reason we're reading this book is because it contains a ton of figurative language. The thing that we learned about. You can listen to that rap if you want to. It's already in Google Classroom for you. I'm also going to attempt to go on, like, edit this, so the next part will be, how do I say this? The next part will be, like, the assignment, so I can go over that with you, because I don't want to just throw it at you and then be like, good luck. No, I want to explain it. So we're not really doing any reading this week, but basically you're going to be clicking links and discovering more about the Dust Bowl, which was really high poverty and affected a lot of Americans, especially farmers in that, like the South and a lot where they do a lot of, like, Midwest. A layer of dust basically went over everything, and it was very, very difficult for us to grow crops. So that means people didn't have money, didn't have food, and their homes were covered and consumed by dust. So we're going to be reading about that and the struggles of this character, okay? So here's me attempting to glue these together.
Okay, so this is going to be available for you through Google Classroom, and it's basically a web search on the Dust Bowl era, so we can have a better understanding of our characters and some biases that they might have and feelings they might have, okay? So, first of all, I need you to make a copy of this, so you go to File, and then you put Make a Copy. Awesome, right? So, it has Make a Copy. So, instead of putting Copy of, you probably should just take that out, meaning please take it out. And then in parentheses, if you could put your name, I'm obviously putting Miss B because that's me. And I'm going to put okay. And look, it should pop up here in a second. Okay, that's taking, oh, nope, here it is. Okay, so basically what you're doing is you're accessing each internet site by clicking on the hyperlink and then providing specific details from your reading to justify or answer the prompts in each section. Okay, so you need to answer the question, and you guys know what TTQA is. It needs to be in complete sentences, proper grammar, capitalization, spelling, things like that. If it has a red underline, you probably should right click on it and, I don't know, probably answer or put the right word. So this is the link. You basically just click on it. Look, Dust Bowl of Oklahoma, and it tells you everything you need to know. Going through all this, the link for the Dust Bowl facts, look at that. It's right there. He looks not so great, but that's okay. And then you're going to type in Oklahoma dust storms into the Google search bar and click on images, and then choose 3 to enlarge and respond to each section below. Okay, vivid words. Okay, so using imagery, the 5 senses. Please, 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 and that should be in complete sentences as well. Everything should be in complete sentences. Over here, you should attach the image if you can. If you can't, that's fine. This should be turned in by the end of the week. You have the entire week to do this as you please. It's kind of self-paced, but it should be enough for everybody. If you have any questions, go ahead and let me know by emailing me. I'll respond as soon as I can. And I'm excited to go through this Dust Bowl journey with you guys. It's a really sad time. Very isolating time, like I said, but we'll get through it, okay?